What is up, Wanderers? Today we're going to be talking about the new GVG update. If you don't know already, we just had a huge GVG update which just launched like last week or last weekend rather. That was their first set. The purpose of this video is that, well, other than just me sharing my thoughts from a shot caller perspective or from a person who, manages a group, I hope that this video will make you think about doing GVGs. If you're a seasoned player who stopped playing and, just got bored of the GVGs, I hope this would at least make you think about going back and playing with your guild, playing with your friends. And also for new players, if you're just starting out and are thinking about doing GVGs, at least I hope that this video will help you push towards the game mode because it is so much fun. It's just a nice guild activity that you and your friends can enjoy. Now, just a disclaimer, I am not going to read all the patch note things or what the patch says because there's a lot of videos, or you guys can just check the patch for yourselves. This is more of my thoughts or how the GVGs has changed how GVGs work. Now, I'm gonna say that probably some of this you won't agree with, which is fine. Some of it you may agree with, which is even more fine. But yeah, this is just what I think makes the new GVG setting better. Okay, so for the first one, I think that why it's so much better because it emphasizes more on group fights rather than just blitzing objectives. The objectives right now are so much tankier, and the players that are under objectives are a factor on how objectives are tankier or the tankiness of the objective. So group fights execution with your team is just more valuable than before because from the previous patch, a lot of guilds were just blitzing objectives and just ignoring fights overall, which was fine because the game is objective based anyway. But for me, because of this change, it just makes your team or it requires your team rather to play more proactive rather than just spank the bulwark, kill the goose, so there's a lot of things that not a lot, I say a lot but it's not really a lot, but it changes the dynamics of how your group works. There's also more objectives now, like there's a new outpost from the top and bottom. This is more for me because as someone who shot calls and strategizes, it just makes it even more fun, a little bit more complex than before rather than just go for bulwarks and do this and stuff. And because during the war, these outposts are situational at best if you're supposed to grab it or not. So for someone, like I said, for someone who shot goals, it just makes it more engaging, if that makes sense. The ultimates or EX skills rather, they are on lower cooldowns now, so group fights are more engaging because the default martial arts skills, they're good, they do damage and stuff, but because the guild war stagger is reduced, especially for let's say Mo Blades and other classes like maybe Twin Blades, they can't really pull off like a massive stagger because of how guild GVG staggers work. They're reduced. So with the new ultimates on lower cooldowns, their value is just amped up to 11. Games are longer now because objectives are tankier. I already mentioned this earlier. Buffs or changes on other martial arts ultimates. Now they change a lot of ultimates on other martial arts, like notably is the Hangdao build, the Phalanx Bane, what do you call this? The Stone Split Strength rather, the DPS Stone Split. They changed their ultimates and even the Umbras, so it gives more room for other builds rather than just focusing on nameless comps. Because if you're someone who already experienced GVGs, a lot of these guilds are just the most DPS that they're focusing on is the nameless because of how nameless is really strong. It's a really big AoE DPS martial art, so a lot of them are just focusing on that comp. So if you're not really a nameless player, that's just kind of disheartening for you. But because of how they changed martial arts now, or martial art ultimates, there's more room for other builds. Tree phase is also now very short because of how they change command skills. This is more of a technical thing if you're not really into commanding and stuff. The tree phase now can run through walls if they casted the relentless skill, so it's now shorter. It prevents a boring slugfest. Usually it's in the middle. Other guilds are doing like going from top and bottom to push their tree, but for the most part, everybody's just on middle, pushing their tree back to their base. It was just a slogfest because of how, what do you call this? The tree is just so much slower, and it could not pass through walls. Now, because it's shorter, slogfests are now not really existent. Healer revives are also nerfed, so you cannot revive your teammate repeatedly. So a lot of guilds are just abusing the revives from the previous patch. They're just logging through everything. People just didn't care if they died because they know they were just gonna get rezzed. So the fights were not really quality. People just didn't care if they died. But for this patch, you actually have to think about when you're going to do a dive, when you're going to do an execute, or going for fights, because your revives are limited. Those are the things that I think that are very positive for the current patch, because the next thing that I'm gonna talk about is just one of the negatives. I think this is the only negative that I see. The bugs are still there. Well, the most notable bug that I know about is the Chi Shield teleport. Unfortunately, I don't have a clip of it, but if you're a nameless player and when you cast Chi Shield, you teleport to Narnia, which is very annoying. I really hope they fix it soon, because I really feel bad for nameless players when they're trying to execute their ultimate and trying to help their teammates, and then they just end up dying because they dive into an enemy group, or some stuff like that. Overall, it's still a fun experience. One of the things that I really hope that they look for a solution for is the rendering. It's still an issue for me at some times. It's not a deal breaker, but because my rig, or my computer, my PC setup is not that strong, it's kind of dated. It doesn't load like a lot of people for me. I hope they would add an option that players can just opt in that people would render at the cost of lag. I already talked about this previously, but yeah, I'm still advocating for that. And yeah, I am rambling at this point, guys. I am so sorry. I tried to do this on the top of my head. So I hope that this video was of any value to you, and I will see you on the next one. Oh, and by the way, Ivory Cats is still recruiting. So if you're in Southeast Asia and you still don't have a guild and want to try GvGs, we are welcoming new players, seasoned players who are just looking for a guild, who don't have a home yet. Everybody's welcome. Just chuck me a DM and we can talk about it. Again, thank you guys.